Hey folks, this is Cindy. Thanks so much for stopping by. In today's video, we are celebrating my friend Ruby's 4-year crafting anniversary. Today and tomorrow, we have loads of designers to share lots of inspiration with you. I will have them linked over on my blog, so do be sure to go check them out. We also have some amazing sponsors for this blog hop, folks, and I will talk about that more here in just a moment. In the meantime, let's talk about my cards. When I was choosing which stamp set I was going to use for my video today, I definitely knew that I wanted to use the Altenew Dearest friend stamp set, and I wanted to use that because Ruby is such a huge Altenew fan, and I definitely wanted to do something to honor her and show her that I just think that she is a fabulous card maker. She is an amazing person, and I just love her to pieces. So I settled on this one and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do have this video sped up quite a bit, folks. I didn't give you a lot of real time here today. A lot of what you're going to see is things that I've been sharing a lot recently, and I'll have a couple of those videos linked down below as well as over on my blog if you're interested in those. So I just kind of needed to get through this. I didn't want to hang you up so you were just hovering on my blog and my video. There's a whole list of fabulous people that you definitely need to go check out today. So real quick, I show you 4¼ inches by 5½ inches for this card. At the end, I end up cutting this down because as I stamped a sentiment on it, I smeared ink all over the whole top half of my card. So I ended up having to trim it down and do something a little bit different with it. But no harm, no foul. That is one of the things that I love about card making is you're never married to anything, and the sky is the limit for creativity. I have always been creative. Even when I was little, I loved to color. I loved to draw. I come from a very artistic family, a very creative family, and we were definitely encouraged to use our creative brains. Anything that we could build on our own, make on our own, was always better than anything we could buy. And it stuck with us as we got older. When I was in middle school, I had an art teacher who was like the coolest guy ever, totally laid back. And his approach with us was just amazing. And in fact, that was my introduction to Copic markers. He let some of his students use his Copic markers, and I thought that it was the most wonderful thing ever. And then I discovered sewing, and by my freshman year, I decided I was going to take a home ec class, and that was at a time where I actually did sewing in a home ec class. I'm totally dating myself, but I was fortunate to have another teacher who pretty much let me do whatever I wanted. She gave me almost free rein to do as much as I could possibly do in that class, and I loved it. And sewing stuck with me for years and years. I loved to sew. And then when my girls were old enough that they needed Halloween costumes, I had this need to find warm Halloween costumes for them. We live in Montana, and Halloween can be very cold here. And I remember when I was a kid, I didn't want to cover up my strawberry shortcake costume to put on a winter coat because it was cold. It always made me sad. And I remember thinking when my kids were little, well, I could make them better than what I'm going to pay for them, and they'll be warm. So that became a tradition for my girls that every year we would build these big, amazing costumes. I mean, the sky was the limit. They loved it. I loved it. I got to use my creative brain. And so that was really great. And then one year, my husband bought me a silhouette cameo so I could cut out fabric with the cameo. And then I was cruising through Pinterest one day, and I discovered 3D paper crafting. And I thought that was like the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. Who knew that like you could build a pumpkin carriage with paper? Like I'd never seen anything like it. And I got totally into that. I loved it so much. In fact, I entered in a bunch of contests. That's where I started my blog, which I look back now and I read some of my blog posts and they're just outrageous. I don't know what I was thinking, but I loved it. So I did that for the longest time. And then again, I was cruising through Pinterest one day and I came across a pin by Jennifer McGuire. And it was a clear card. It had these die cut balloons on the front of it. And I'll have it linked down below as well as over on my blog if you'd like to check that out. But I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, what is this card making? Like, what is this? And then I realized that I could do it on my own. Like, I could totally do that. I didn't have any dies, but I had this silhouette cameo. So I totally cased her card. I cut out these stars with my machine, and I had this acetate from my 3D paper crafting stuff. And so I made this card and I was like, well, this is just awesome. So I started, looking at more card making supplies, and I did like most people. I went crazy. Like, you name it, I was buying it. I had to have everything. And I was, still just learning. I had no idea most of the time what I was doing. It hadn't even occurred to me that I could stamp images and I could color them in. I already knew that I had the potential to be pretty good at it. I was a little rusty. But it just hadn't even occurred to me that, it could be a thing. And then I got to thinking one day. I was going through some old college papers that I had kept. And one of my favorite classes in college was my technical writing class. And I'll tell you, folks, so there is nothing more boring on the planet than writing a technical manual. I thought that I was going to gouge my eyes out a time or two in that class. But what I loved about it, and the reason why it was my favorite, was because I got to draw in it. And so I still had some of my artwork from this class. Like, I literally, I had sketched out this, what is that thing that pulls staples out? Staple puller, I suppose. I had sketched one of those out for an assignment. So I had to write this technical manual on this staple puller, and then I did the artwork for it. But anyway, I came across that one day, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right, Copic markers. So I started looking into those, and then it opened up this whole new world of stamping images and coloring them in. And then I realized that I really had a passion for that. That was my happy place, and that's where I find my peace. And more importantly, I can share that with people. I can teach people how to do that. I can inspire people to use their creative brains, and I just love it. So about 3 years ago, I came across a blog post of Ruby's. She was designing for the Ton stamps, and so I left a comment on the blog post, and it just, from there on out, it was like we connected and we've been friends ever since. And that's another thing that I love about this industry and what I do, is the people that I've had the opportunity to meet, because I would have never met them, and it's definitely been fortuitous in many ways, and I feel super blessed and super grateful that I've been able to do that. And I mentioned earlier that you don't always have to be married to whatever it is that you're doing. And that truly is one of my favorite things about card making, is nothing has to be perfect. I love that I can make those mistakes and I can learn from them. I love that I can do something silly and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I love that I can always push myself to do better and be better, but even if I don't get it right away, that is totally okay. This is one of the few things that you can do that if it doesn't work out, then just throw it in the garbage. If it doesn't work out, then start over, try again. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too, because you can stamp that image again. you can color it again. And I love that there is this whole world of resources out there that you can pull from and learn from. And that's actually what motivated me to start my YouTube channel a year ago. I realized that the majority of what I was sharing on my blog was the finished product, and that's primarily what I was talking about. I realized that I could share actually how I was making, not just what I had made, but how I made it. That I could help you guys learn from your mistakes and hopefully inspire you to color or be creative in general. If Copic markers aren't your thing, that's fine. Watercolor. If watercoloring isn't your thing, then colored pencils. Just anything to use your creative brain. I realized that I could help with that I had something to offer in that. And I've learned a lot in that time too. It's definitely given me some more focus on how I approach my own cards based on how I need to be able to teach what I am doing. Hopefully that makes sense. And it's motivated me to find more resources to push myself a little bit farther. So I am more apt to take those coloring classes so I can learn and then I can pass that along to you guys. The other thing I have learned in my crafty journey is that I absolutely do not need to buy everything under the sun. Now, that being said, there is tons of cool stuff out on the market. There's tons. And the best time ever is at Creativation and being able to see all of those new products and what they do and how they work and getting excited about the newest thing that's coming out. But I realized that I don't need it all. I have come far enough in my journey that I've gotten rid of probably 3/4 of what I used to have, and I don't even miss it. I am really happy with my little arsenal of fun. I have my Copics, I have my colored pencils, I have my paper. Now, every once in a while, something comes along that just blows my mind and makes my life a little bit easier, and I think that it's amazing, and I absolutely love using it, and I'm all about using it. But I definitely had to learn at some point that I don't need to own everything. However, I have 2 things that are definitely my crafty kryptonite. The first thing is floral stamps. I don't know what it is. It's not that I can't color other things, and it's not that I haven't. I can, and I have. There's just something about flowers and florals that really just makes my heart go pitter-patter. And the other thing is ink pads. I own an unreal amount of ink pads, and it's ludicrous because I don't use them that often. But there's just something about them, like especially some of my favorite ink lines. They come out with all of these colors, and I have a full set syndrome, and then I tell myself I need to own them all, and I really don't. But I can't help it. I buy those. And I suppose at the end of the day, as long as I'm focusing on florals and ink pads, then I'm not buying all this other stuff that I don't need. So I guess that's one way I'm justifying it with myself. But no, seriously, folks, it took me a long time to realize that I don't need to own everything. Nobody needs to own everything that's out there. And honestly, I found that it helped me be a better card maker because then I wasn't so overwhelmed. I wasn't so busy trying to figure out what I was going to do with all of this stuff that really, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get through it all. It's just taking up space. It's just taking up space in my head where it would be better served for creativity. So that was definitely one thing I learned, and I'm glad that I did. Okay, so while I've been doing all this talking, I've just kind of been blowing through this card. And again, I will have some videos linked down below as well as over my blog for you to check them out. This isn't anything different. I'm just doing some no-line Copic coloring and then going over that to add the details in with my colored pencils. I've thoroughly been enjoying this process lately. This is one of those things where I talk about pushing myself to learn more, do better, be a better colorist, and this is definitely doing the trick. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys are as well. I had mentioned earlier how much I enjoy sharing what I do with everyone. I also really enjoy seeing what everyone else is doing. I don't care how good someone thinks they are or how bad someone thinks they are. I think anytime that you are using your creative brain to make something, I think that that is beautiful. I think everybody has the potential to be really good at whatever they want to be good at. And I love seeing what others are doing. That truly inspires me. Just the creative process just inspires me. I like seeing that in other people. I don't always get to comment or like things the way that I wish I could, but I definitely spend time, at least a little bit of time every day, seeing what other folks are up to, and I love it. And I think that's one of the great things about our industry is that we can, that everybody is so willing to share that and put themselves out there. I just think that that's wonderful. And I also wanted to let you guys know that I don't always get the opportunity to show you some love in return, but just know that even if I don't get a chance to comment or like anything of yours, it doesn't mean that I haven't seen it. I do, at the very least, I do check out what's going on. I just don't always get the opportunity to respond, but I love engaging with you guys, and I love it when you reach out to me. And if there's ever anything that you want to share with me, feel free to leave a comment or a link to your own blog. I will definitely go check it out. It makes me happy. All right, so let's take a minute and talk about this blog hop. It is a 2-day blog hop, today and tomorrow, and we have tons of designers to share lots of inspiration with you folks. I have the full list linked over on my blog, so definitely go check that out. And also be sure to go show Ruby some love on her blog. Wish her a happy anniversary. She's certainly earned it. We also have some really amazing sponsors to celebrate this anniversary. I will have that full list linked over on my blog as well. Winners will be randomly selected from the comments left on all of the blogs along the hop, so do be sure that you're commenting and showing some folks some love, and but hopefully earning yourself some prizes there. Again, head on over to my blog and I will have more details and info linked over there for you on that. All right, so I am just about finished up with this card here. This is how glamorous it is to be a blogger and a YouTuber. I started this card at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and I actually didn't get to finish it until 2 a.m. because I swear all day it was Mom, Babe, Suze, Cindy. I am definitely a mom and a wife first, so it took me forever. And then when I finally uploaded the footage this morning, there was only an hour and a half there, so it really didn't take that long to make these. It was tons of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the stamp set. I will have more details and links down below as well as over on my blog, so do be sure to check that out. And be sure to enjoy Rubeena's hop. She has certainly earned it. She's an amazing girl. Do be sure to go check her out. That is it, folks. We are done. We are good to go. I hope you enjoyed my cards today. If you did, hit that like button and share it with your friends. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell next to the subscribe button so you can receive all future notifications. Thanks again so much for stopping by. Until next time.